November 28th, you buy the ticket, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones, battle to the finish. Buy it.
It's our belief that on November 28th, we have a really fantastic event of music and boxing that we don't think the world has ever seen before. A show of epic proportions, globally broadcast on View and on Tyson on Triller.com. We have 5 music acts. We have a number of championship boxers. We have Jake Paul fighting Nate Robinson. And the evening will culminate in one of the world's greatest showdowns, a climatic fight between Roy Jones Jr. and Mike Tyson, coming out of retirement for the first time in 15 years.
Might be a knockout.
You know, whenever 2 people in the ring, there's a possibility you could die any moment in there. There's always that possibility. It's always there. This is my brother, Greg Walsh, and this is his son, Gunner. We lost him, and we love Gunner, and I just wanted to represent Gunner.
That's good. Go ahead, you deserve it.
Make sure this shit is on. Gunner needs this respect. We love Gunner.
He died of a drug overdose 2 days before his 25th birthday. And Gunner passed. Mike called us and talked to us on the phone for about 20 minutes. He was inconsolable, just crying, and he helped Gunner a lot.
Happiness for me? Dying. I don't live life too good. I don't do well in this world. I lose a lot in life.
Hey Dad.
What?
When your tigers were a kid, like little cubs,
Yeah.
how sharp are their nails?
Well, I had to remove their nails.
They're that sharp?
Well, yeah, they can cut your throat by accident. They don't mean it, but they can take, yeah, it can really hurt you bad by accident.
How many stitches?
I don't know. He had to do a lot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he put inside and out. There's only a handful of guys that could lose 100 pounds and fight for the championship. Roberto Duran, Muhammad Ali, Jim Jeffries, and me. Ain't nobody losing 100 pounds and 90 pounds and gonna come back in the ring at their best. You won't be able to spar after losing that weight that fast.
Punches and bunches, punches is thrown into your frontless.
I like to think Ares, the god of war, and Destiny had a baby. The baby from War and Destiny had a baby with Faith.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
Everything's all set for the walkthrough. Meet Jerry over at the stadium. We should probably try to nail down one of these venues soon.
What's up, fellas?
Hey, Jerry.
How are you?
Good.
It doesn't matter what the venue is. We can make any venue look pretty. You know, or attractive. I guess pretty is not the right word. Look attractive visually on television.
I like pretty.
We can make it look pretty. Big weekend. You know, it's a big pay-per-view audience. LA be rocking.
I'm worried about Tyson and Jones.
Right.
Tyson and Jones Jr.
Boxing became so special to me because as a kid, I was a constant agitator. So watching my father be so enthused by watching Muhammad Ali fight Joe Frazier, I was really taken by that because my father was so into the boxing. And Muhammad Ali was doing exactly what I love to do, which was aggravate Joe Frazier while he beat him. So I was like, wow, this is pretty interesting. If somebody ever taught me how to use my hands, I can do that because my mindset is the exact same as his mindset. I just don't know how to throw the punches yet. So if somebody teaches me how to throw the punches, I probably could do that. And that's what boxing meant to me right off top.
From Pensacola, Florida, a future Hall of Famer, the former middleweight world champion, former super middleweight world champion, former light heavyweight world champion, and former heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
The word impossible for Roy Jones Jr. is a word that I think I take it the opposite. So if somebody tell me something is impossible, guess what? That's exactly what I think I'll go try to do. So if they tell me it's impossible for a guy to be at the Olympics as a junior middleweight and become heavyweight champion of the world, guess what? I think that's what I'll go try to do. Because I love to be challenged. So when you tell me something is impossible, that's what I want to go try. So when people say, there's no way he can do it again, oh yeah? And that's what the problem I have now. I have to try to fight impossible every day, because me and the word impossible, we battle every day. You know, every time I have to make myself forget about impossible, because if I don't, I'll be fighting again, because in my mind, what they tell me I can't do is exactly what I want to go do.
Can't be touched, can't be stopped, can't be moved, can't be rocked, can't be shook. We hot. When will you niggas learn? Came to get crunk, came to bring life, came to get started, came to get right. Turn down the music, turn up my mic. When will you niggas learn?
Transitioning from amateur to professional was very easy for me, mainly because my style already was geared around a professional style. So I don't think I ever really adhered to the amateur system. It was always me thinking I was going to be a pro fighter one day after the Olympics. Because after you got older and start trying to go to the Olympics, you realize that the guys that don't make it to the Olympics, they turn pro and they become that year's pro class. So you have a pro class of 84, guy that didn't make the Olympics was Mike Tyson, was the biggest name. But Mike Tyson did more than all the guys that even made the Olympics. As a matter of fact, he beat the two guys, the heavyweight and the super heavyweight, that made the Olympics in '84 as a pro. So you start to learn then that just because they don't make the Olympics doesn't mean things. Some of the guys who don't make the Olympics become better pros. So for instance, Mark Breland was probably the best amateur on the team in '84. But Mark Breland didn't turn out to be the best pro. Pernell Whitaker had a much better career. Evander Holyfield had a much better career. I mean, it's just a lot of people had, Virgil Hill even, they had much better careers than Mark Breland, but Mark Breland was the most celebrated amateur boxer in the United States, probably of all time. He got a gold medal in '84, but he didn't pan out to be a good pro. So if your style wasn't oriented to be a style that went on and carried you through the professional rankings, your style really wasn't that good.
We get ready for our first HBO look at Roy Jones, the outstanding boxer of the 1988 Seoul Olympics when he was jobbed by bad scoring out of a gold medal. He has fought in obscurity in his professional career. How good is he? What's at stake for him tonight?
He seems to have it all, Jim. He has great hand speed, solid punching power, puts his punches together well, and has great confidence. But he's fighting a tall, experienced fighter, a good boxer, great lateral movement. It could be a problem. Let's see if he can solve it.
Left hook landed on Harris's chin, but it's not as powerful as the earlier left hook and right cross bombs that Jones has been throwing. That one wobbled Harris just a little bit. If there's any weakness at all, Gil, he doesn't look to me as though he commits to the jab very often. He can make it more effective.
Right, he just doesn't set guys up with that left hand, but with the power he has and the speed, and he's been so effective, I guess he feels he doesn't have to throw a snappy left jab.
Wobbled Harris again with a left hook there. Left and a right as he backs up and moves away from Harris. Another right cross. Harris in trouble again. Can Harris make it out of round 4? Not without going down.
That's it.
And Tony Orlando has seen enough. So we're looking at a potential all-time great, right?
Well, all-time great is a little bit in the distance. I mean, but right now he looks that way.
Let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official particulars.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official time comes at the end of the 4th round. The winner by knockout victory. And now his record, 20-0, 19 KOs, and he owns the WBC Continental America Super Middleweight Championship. Ladies and gentlemen, Roy Jones Jr.
It's a big difference in style with me or Holyfield, Mike Tyson in that era, the Muhammad Ali days, the Sugar Ray Leonard days. The biggest thing is that we had more technique than conditioning. Nowadays, fighters are more strength and conditioning than technique. How that happened was people started getting lazy with technique. So they would have technique, like you have a lot of guys that would have a technique, but they wouldn't be conditioned. So they come to the ring, they look good for a few rounds, then they die off. The better conditioned guy win the fight. So what started happening was a lot of guys that had technique were getting beat by guys that didn't have the same technique, but had better conditioning. So what happens? Boxing transitioned from a skill sport to a better conditioned sport. So now people forget about technique, but they work on more on condition. Condition becomes the priority. Legends, they do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. The champions, they get to be champions, but they don't last long. They get to be champions, but they don't do it the right way. They get to be champions, but they have too many close back and forth that we ain't sure what happened. They don't dominate. The legends find a way to dominate even in adversity. So the legends like Mike Tyson, yeah, late he lost, but when he was dominating, wasn't nobody touching him. Pernell Whitaker, when he was dominating, wasn't nobody touching him. Sugar Ray Leonard, when he was dominating, the only other person that could touch him was somebody also great like him, which was Roberto Duran. But those are legends. It takes one legend to touch another. The rest of them can't touch him, not in his prime. So legends are built because they can come back and do it over and over and over again. Only time you may see them struggle is against another legend, not just another ordinary joke. That don't happen. For anybody who's out there that's aspiring to be a young boxer, there's a few things you need to do if you really want to box. First thing is you have to find out who God is, because God is your creator. With God, all things are possible. Without God, not much is gonna happen for you, trust me. Second thing you have to figure out is how bad do you want to box. You have to be willing to kill or die almost if you really want to be a professional boxer. Now, if you want to be an amateur boxer, you ain't got to kill or die. It's just about outpointing the guy and winning. But if you want to be a professional boxer, you got to be willing, ready, and able to put it all on the line. Third thing, if you're going to box, find you a trainer who understands boxing, who knows how to separate different personalities, different styles, different DNAs, who knows how to use what God gave you. If your trainer can't teach you how to use what God gave you, meaning whether it's speed, whether it's power, whether it's reach, whether it's shortness, no matter what it is, whatever you are, genetically, a trainer has to be able to bring the best you out of you. Not just be a trainer that just train people. He got to know what it is about you that makes you you, and he got to be able to take that to the max. If you put those three things together, you should have no problem being the best that you possibly can be.